Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Industry Talks, where we dive into the behind the scene of the industry and the journeys of those who shape it. I am your host, Bertrand Jolet. Thank you for joining me today. But before we get started, please feel free to subscribe to all my social media or my YouTube channel so you're sure that you're not going to miss any upcoming interviews. And today, I am delighted to receive two wonderful ladies. Hello, Claire Letoret and Tracey
Hello.
Collis. How are you
Hi.
guys?
Hello.
Super, super. Very good.
Fabulous.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. So, without further ado, let's begin. Roll the title. So, Tracy and Claire, I am going to just give a small bio from both of you.
Mhm.
Please feel free to stop me if I'm saying BS, right? So, Tracy, you are a British actress born on July 5th, 1961, and you followed an unusual career path in the film industry because you began your career in acting at a young age, but you stepped away from on-screen work in your early 20s, and
Correct.
then you spent over 3 decades working behind the scenes in film production and particularly in art departments and as a product designer, gaining extensive experience across the UK and Europe while based between London and France.
Yes, and South Africa.
In South
Many,
Africa,
yes.
exactly. And in recent years, you returned to acting and you are building a growing list of screen credits, including We Were the Lucky Ones, The Devil Speaks, and
Yes.
What Lies Beneath, and Marius et les Gardiens de la Cité Phocéenne. And
Oh,
your role have mostly been supporting or guest appearances, reflecting your re-entry into the industry. And alongside your return to acting, you also earned recognition in the World Monologue Game in 2023-2024, and trained with respected acting coaches such as Ivana Shabuk and Bernard Hillier.
correct.
Hiller, sorry.
Hello.
Bernard Hiller.
Bernard Hiller. And beyond acting, you are also a co-founder of the Actors Co-Pilot, a platform designed as a modern AI-assisted coaching tool to support actors with self-tape preparation and performance development, combining your industry experience with new digital approaches to actor training. And overall, your career is marked by a homecoming to acting after a long and successful behind the camera career, now complemented by your work in actor development tools like the Actors Co-Pilot.
Very
Am
well put.
I
I'd love you to write my bio. That was very well
Bravo.
put. Thank you.
right? You're more than welcome. And Claire, you
Yes.
are French film industry professional, mainly
Mhm.
working as a first assistant director. You are known for working behind the scenes on international film and television productions rather than being an on screen actor. Your job typically
Thank God.
involves coordinating the shooting schedule, managing the set,
Mhm.
helping the director organize the production. Some of
Mhm.
your projects you worked on include Monster Hunter, The New Look, We Were the Lucky Ones, The Serpent Queen, The Triangle, and you have been active in production roles across multiple countries and large scale film sets, often in assistant directing capacities. Also,
Mhm.
you are a co founder of the Actors Co Pilot project. Am I right or am I right?
You are right.
It's spot
You are
on.
right.
Yeah.
Let's just dive in. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Yeah.
So, my first question for both of you:
Mhm.
Who are you? I said I gave some clues about your background, but I want you to tell us who you are, where are you from, and what did you want to do when you were younger? Your childhood dream. Tracy?
You- I'll
Exactly.
start. Okay,
All
fine.
right.
No, Bess, I was introduced to acting at a very young age. My mum, bless her, who's passed away, actually gave up a position at RADA for, she was given, she was spotted by a RADA representative in the army in a sort of play. I think she ran the play acting group. And she was given, he said, basically, whenever you want to come to RADA, you're in. And it was the same year as Anthony Hopkins. But she loved, her passion was acting. And she met my dad, got married, and had 3 kids. So she gave up that dream. And I think it was a time, an era where women were, you know, on the back end and they were there to raise families and they couldn't have second jobs. And I always saw in my mum that passion to return to acting. I mean, she got into amateur dramatics. She won Best Actress year after year after year. Every Saturday we'd listen to Shakespeare records. She would put us in variety concerts. And I was the one who absolutely, more than my brothers, absolutely flourished and loved the world of acting. So that's where my dream started. And after leaving school, I was lucky enough at school. We were the first year ever to have drama as a subject in South Africa. And I flourished up on a pedestal and went straight into UCT drama school.
So you were
And
already, sorry to interrupt. So you were already in South Africa when you were younger.
yes,
How did it
we
happen?
left England. Well, it was nothing, I didn't have a say in it because we left England when I was 3.
Okay.
My dad actually came over to South Africa. He was offered the job because he was also in film at the beginning. He was with Rank Organization and he owned a theater that housed Frank Sinatra, all sorts of people. So he was also in the entertainment business. And he was offered what would one say, not an audition, an interview to run the South African film industry with Emil Nofel. And he for some reason was delayed, got to South Africa too late, missed that position, loved South Africa, got the rest of us on a plane over there and became an estate agent. So, you know, both their careers could have assisted myself and my brother, Nick Collis, who's also an actor. He was a presenter in South Africa for many years, TV presenter. So it was always in the family. And that passion remained with me, you know, into drama school. I absolutely blossomed at drama school. I loved it because you were in a safe environment. It was when I was out of drama school and did really well as an actress, I suddenly was again on this pedestal and it was knocked from beneath my feet because at that age, in that year, those years, we never had support as actors, which we do have. It's available nowadays. There was no support. And it was in the room auditions. I suddenly dropped 3 auditions in a row I didn't get. And I left acting. I lost my nerve. So, yeah, and do I regret it? Yes, of course. But what's the point? It's pointless regretting it. It was only when Claire said, let's go back to Europe. My parents were living here. Claire is French. And we came back here and it just opened up something in me. The history. South Africa is a very new country. You don't have these incredible, you know, you walk down the streets of Paris and you can smell the past. You know, we don't have that in South Africa. It's a new country. It's got its own rule, you know, sets of politics, which we all know about, which I fought against. I got jailed 11 times in apartheid era. And it just seemed the right thing to do.
Going too far.
Yeah.
First, childhood. That was so interesting. I want to get back to that after
Yes.
Claire tell me how her childhood were, and we would go back to how you two met.
Super.
Don't do too fast. We still have time, all right? Claire, your turn.
She's got so much to say, and it's very
I
colorful.
know, that's the reason why I'm saying that.
I'm on a bell compared to that. But
All
anyway,
in one sentence. Okay.
No, she's like a train. She's just going. I'm like, wait, stop.
she is.
Tell me more about your childhood.
Alors, I grew up in France, like Tracy said, and I grew up in middle France, very like in the countryside. And I think if I remember, I always wanted to travel. That's really a leitmotiv in my life. And I was thinking when I was a kid, I was like, well, how can I travel? And I like telling stories as well, and we'll get back to that. So there is two choices for me that came up. It was being a journalist and a traveling journalist, a reporter traveling the world and telling stories. And the other one was to be a médecin sans frontières. I've always had a keen interest in the human being, in anatomy. And eventually I chose medicine, even though I had initially chose to be a journalist because my mother passed away of cancer when I was quite young. When I was 16, it was a painful time. And I think in me, ignited the desire to find a cure for cancer. And so I followed medicine, and I did 2 years of medicine. And then I decided I've got to take a sabbatical. I was not quite sure if I really was cut to do that. I had 3 months in the ER, and I saw things that are quite difficult emotionally to cope with. You have to be cut for that. So long story short, I decided to go and join a very good friend at the time, was still a good friend, who was in Scotland, and she was doing archaeology. So for me, that was kind of the way to decide to get out of France, to see something else. And I went, and I eventually stayed 2 years in Scotland, raking ground under the snow and the rain, and making some sketches of stones, of cairns and things like that. Eventually, I ended up going to. I'm going to cut it very short because it's a long story. I eventually went to New York. I decided to go to the state. I had gone for a 4-year Easter weekend, and I fell in love with New York when I first arrived at 42nd Street, coming out of the tube. And this is like New World. This is, you skyscrapers. Anyway, went back to London, spent the 4 days, went back to London when I was after being in Scotland. And then when I finished the job I was doing there, I eventually took my little rucksack, because I was still with only a rucksack, and I went to New York. And all in all, I spent 3 years in the States, sort of working my way around the States.
And what were you doing? What were you doing in the States and in Scotland?
I was a bartender, a waitress, mainly, ended up, so I spent a few months in New York, and as soon as it started being cold, yes, I will get to that. And I ended up going to Key West. And in Key West, one of the person I met said, I wanted to find a job as a waitress. And she said, well, come to the theater, because Kelly McGillis is actually auditioning for a play she's doing called Morticians in Love. And when she's finished with the rehearsal, you can ask her if you can have a job as a waitress in a new restaurant, Caribbean bar and grill. So I went to the rehearsal. Met Kelly at the end of the rehearsal, and she kind of looked at me, stared me from top to bottom, and say, "Don't you want to be a dead body in my play? I'm still looking for one, and you absolutely exactly what I had in mind." So I ended up being the dead body in Morticians in Love, and I ended up being a nanny for Kelly McGillis for a couple of years.
For those who don't know Kelly McGillis, can you tell us who it is?
Oh, she's very known. She's a known actress, very known actress, who was in Top Gun, the first one, and also in Witness with Harrison Ford. So, and at the time she had already done those movies, obviously, and she was more sort of stepping away from Hollywood and taking care of the kids and this new venture that she had in Key West.
All right.
Of course, all the time I've been like asking for a green card. I couldn't get a green card, and so eventually I had to leave America, and that all coincided with the Rugby World Cup. I'm a rugby fanatic.
Really?
Let it be known. Oh, yeah. So it was 1995, and in Key West there was a lot of rugby fans like me from all over the world: New Zealand, Australia, South Africa specifically. And when South Africa beat the French in the semi-final in Durban, they kind of said, my friend said, well, you know, you have to leave America. You have to leave the United States. You love rugby. Just come and support South Africa in South Africa. You can stay with us. So I jumped on the plane. I arrived in South Africa, watched the game, which was amazing. And parallel to that, friend of a friend was a producer, who's remained a very good friend to this day, Alexandra. She was looking for somebody to translate a storyboard for a French commercial for Yves Rocher at the time. So I did that, went to the office, gave the translation, and she just like, well, don't you want to? We have the producer, the director, the DOP arriving. None of them speak very good English. I could do with your help to be a translator and a driver. And I said yes. And the first time I arrived on set, it was like Obelix falling in a big magic potion. It was just like love at first sight, the camera, the action, the energy. And reflecting on that, I'm just like, I don't know. I think in my mind, to be in the movie industry, you had to do big studies. And I was not in that frame of mind when I was younger or before I left France. But I never looked back. And that was the beginning of my adventure. I eventually became a permanent resident in South Africa, and I did 25 years. And I just went, and I really never studied it. I have a background in movie making in the way that I've always loved movies.
Mhm.
I always loved photography because my mother was a photographer. Uh, uh, and but so that's me. And just like, you know, going up the different echelon, I ended up being a first AD, working on really, you know, beautiful projects with great directors, great actors. And along the way, also, I developed a passion for storytelling, and I started to write screenplays. I developed a TV series in South Africa for which I won a prize, and it's still in the mix. I'm busy sort of doing a pitch deck for that because obviously when we came back to France, I had to work, and I'm not the kind of writer that can wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, uh, work 2 hours on the script, and then go to work. And I need to be totally immersed into it. So, which, you know, so I've got 2 projects on the go at the moment.
Wow. That's
And
like, did you dream when you were younger to be in this business or never? It never
never,
occurred to you that you will be in this
no,
business.
not at all.
Right.
That's it's no, not at all. And it's that's why I think if you know
Right.
when you speak to youngsters and they think they are, and you can change tracks anytime in your life. I mean, I'm lucky enough that eventually I find that and I find my passion, and I've
Yeah.
been in you know for almost 30 years now. But nothing is written in stone. You know, you
Nothing.
can the
True.
same with relationship, the same with life. It's and that's why it's so magic. It's like you
Mm.
can whatever you can envisage, you can make happen if you're
Yeah.
willing to do so, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Let me jump
So
right into it because you talk about relationship, and that's the moment where I'm going to ask both of you, how did you meet? So was it in South Africa, in France? What happened there?
I
I'm gonna let Tracy.
yeah.
Okay,
I like what
go
you
on,
said
Tracy.
about no, but what Claire was
No,
saying about
because I don't have the same
relationships
recollection because
in the
your
other room.
recollection is quite amazing.
No, what you said about relationships not being written in stone, for God's sake, are relationships written
It
in
is now. We all yeah, absolutely. But
no,
Yeah.
no,
When
the
was it
way
exact? I want all the
yeah.
details, guys. So
Okay, you got them. When we first met, my side of the story of when we first met, at that stage, I owned a company in South Africa called SET, S-E-T. People always used to get it confused with sexscapes. Wasn't that? It was SET-scapes. And
and so when you were
yeah,
in South Africa, you started working as like behind the scene, right when
yeah,
you said, okay, I'm done with acting because of what happened. And
yeah.
right after, how did it from that
Well,
point to meeting Claire?
okay, so I basically started in the art department and I was thrown in the deep end because the production designer on my first big commercial was fired because they suddenly discovered her CV was made up. She was from somewhere overseas, I've forgotten where. and her CV was made up, and they discovered that, and they saw it was very theatrical. I had a theatre background at that stage, designing for theatre, lighting. I was a lighting designer in theatre, stage manager, all that stuff. And my first commercial, basically, they fired the production designer. It was a very theatrical set. It had to look, you know, theatrical. And they could see that I was designing everything. And they came to me and said, will you production design this? I was like, whoa, you know, I hardly knew the film industry, but I loved it and I thrived because I was thrown in the deep end. It was a major challenge. And I became a production designer from then onwards. So it was probably about 8 years later, I decided to open a prop house to hire furniture and props to the film industry. So I did that. Then I decided to open a studio. I did that. And then I decided also to open a set building company. So it became Setscapes, the one-stop art department. And our studio had just opened. It was very rustic, but stunning because it was in an old train yard. And I'd taken over this 3,000 square meter building. And I remember very well, it was the first shoot in our studio. Apparently Claire remembers me previously, but I don't remember previously. But and I
We're
remember
going to go there afterwards.
Yeah.
So first
Yeah,
your
yeah.
memories and then Claire memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was standing on a ladder, actually changing a light bulb just before this crew arrived. And Jeremy, I remember one of the art department people was holding the ladder because it was like really quite high up. And I was changing this bulb because I wanted everything perfect. And suddenly I heard this gorgeous French accent walk in like
Which accent? I don't understand.
I
Yeah.
don't understand either.
Yeah. Which accent? Yeah. I know. And I swear, I just about fell off the bloody ladder. Jeremy said to me, now stop, she's involved. I said, okay, fine, fine. And I remember after the shoot, Claire saying to me, it was a shoot for Archers, which was
You know, you like to do advertising on TV.
yeah,
On
it was like a beer
drink.
aperitif, you know. And she said to me, come, let's just have one of the product. And we sat, I remember, with our feet over the edge of this, it's sort of on the train yard almost, and without trains.
How romantic.
It down. Yeah, how romantic. And I, I'm that kind of person. I believe everything happens for a reason. Like I believe Claire's journey into this world of film didn't happen by chance. It was meant to be. And I literally, we've heard the term love at first sight.
I was going to say that.
100% happened for me, 100%. Not for Claire, but, and I had to take months of, I knew she was involved.
Courting.
And I kind of backed off. And I did the right thing. And, at the time, I didn't realize Claire was in a relationship that was in the balance. And yeah, eventually she phoned me. So that was the start of that. But apparently,
but I have, because
yeah.
for all the people who are listening, okay.
What were you doing? Wait. What were you doing? What were you doing on that set, particularly, Claire? What was your job when you met Tracey?
I was so I think when we met on that set was 2000, end of 2004, 2005. I mean, because you opened in 2004, Trace, right?
Yeah, yes.
You
yeah,
came
I think
after
it was 2004 or 5.
Yeah. I was already a first AD, so I was first AD on that set. Yes, I do remember. I don't remember you on the ladder, but I remember obviously you were around that day, and I remember the romantic drink on the quay. But I didn't think much more of that at all until you starting pursuing me, but I was involved, as Tracey says. It's only really an hour and a half. It's only a year and a half later that we got involved, because after that, I was involved, and I made Tracey understand that there's nothing there. The the other relationship just sort of I got out of it, but there was already maybe some problems, and I went to Chile to do 6 months of a commercial season over there.
Go there.
And I mean that's when I came back. That Tracey we've been in touch with each other. I know you had surgery, Tracey, as well,
Yeah.
and I was, it was just and then when I came back, I said, well, we've been communicating, so let's. I'm
No,
back
you
in
can
town.
go
So
there.
let's.
I wrote Claire. Email had just kind of come out, and one night I knew I was in love with her, and I wrote her this incredibly
Oh, ouais,
sort of love letter poem. I knew she was breaking up as well, so it wasn't like I was,
It
one
was.
of them, but I did, and I remember I sent it. I sent the mail. I thought, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? And yeah, anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no. So I read the mail. It was like, oh my God. And then I did the
That
6 months
was your
in Chile.
reaction? Oh my God, that's it?
It was no, it was maybe a bit more than that. It was oh my God of
Intense.
realizing the depth of the attraction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy to me, and it's almost it's sometimes it's a bit scary, when you just and if you're not sure yourself. So anyway, so I came back from Chile and just we went for a drink, and then yeah, we got close to each other. But I had to coming out of a relationship as well. I had to
Mm.
calm Tracy's uh, sort of
Excitement.
well,
Yeah.
excitement, yeah. And I think she did the right thing because she was not forceful. She was like, whatever time you need. And I think
Backed up.
I know she's really approached it the right way, because I needed, obviously, you don't go from one relationship to the other. There's grieving, there's you need time on your own, and she totally understood and respected that, and you won in the end.
Bingo.
And
And it's been
may I,
amazing. I mean,
20 years later.
we
but
jokingly about it
may I
now, but
ask you,
it's
may I ask you a personal, very personal question? How was it
what.
for you as two women in love to leave your love uh, in the daylight in South Africa?
Very, very difficult during the time.
Did
I think,
you?
yeah, no, for me, when I was younger,
Oh, okay. I was, yeah. Okay, fine. So younger, yes, but
especially, Claire arrived, uh, the Rugby World Cup, the year she arrived was the year that apartheid switched hands, but so Claire didn't really experience it to the extent I did. It was horrific. You couldn't walk down the street with a partner. If there was and if your partner had short hair and, had maybe a slight masculine, or, I don't know, people term these things, and
Mm.
just saw two women, you would have people spitting in the street. You would have, it was horrendous. And
but when
I
was that
felt,
was sorry, okay, sorry, carry on.
I felt the same pain post-apartheid when suddenly cross culture couples could be together, and I could see the way people were reacting, like seeing a black man and a white woman or vice versa. I mean, yeah, it's still there, I think, a bit in South Africa. They still got hang-ups from the past. It's very sad because it's a really incredibly beautiful country. It's come a long way, but there's many roads to cross still. Yeah, so it was hard. It definitely was hard, and
And
I remember that feeling. Yeah,
in your
I
time
do
as
something wrong was the feeling I
Mm.
often got.
Mm.
Is there something wrong with me? That shouldn't be
Mm.
allowed, and it's great to see nowadays the world is opening up slowly but
Mm.
surely. But it is opening up. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah,
Claire?
it's stretch. Well, I think what Tracy described is, as she says, she's before my time, because I
Literally.
don't, yeah, BC, before Claire. I think, but I don't have the same experience because we, South Africa, with all its history, has a really progressive constitution, and it's
Yes.
called it's a rainbow nation. They have and and as soon as Mandela got out of prison, and there was really that chart that was like written, and it really opened up a lot of things. And for me personally in South Africa, I never really felt that I was doing something wrong being gay or everything. I think there's you know, pride is existing obviously over there. It's I mean, from the time I was with Tracey and even before in my previous relationship, I never felt, I mean, I was not flaunting it, but because I don't think it's the right thing to do anyway, you know, who cares? But I never felt like, you know, I was going to be gay bashed or anything like that. I
Yeah.
really felt secure
It
and
almost changed overnight, Claire. Seriously, the
wait,
difference
that's
between
what I'm saying. From
3 o'clock,
my,
you
from my
know,
perspective, it's
yeah,
I really have a great memory of South Africa and Cape Town because that's where we
yeah.
lived for that. I mean, it was especially Cape Town. Right.
And the World Cup, you know, Claire mentioned the World Cup. Wow, what a day that was. It really unified the entire nation. It was insane. My company, funnily enough, did the props at the opening ceremony of the World Cup. So I was lucky enough to be right there. And when Mandela got up and did the dance
Yeah.
and South Africa won, the every
That's insane.
the hugs, you know, everybody, it was a nation just shedding apartheid and celebrating through this one event. It was incredible. I remember driving back home afterwards. I get quite teary thinking about it, with people waving flags out the window and blacks and whites hugging on the street and people celebrating not just the winning of the World Cup, but the end of apartheid. You know,
That was
it,
a big catalyst.
yeah, it was insane. It was beautiful.
Would you say that event particularly really changed something in you, Tracey? Because you have lived through apartheid, we haven't, and Claire
Yeah.
obviously haven't. So you know exactly how it was before, but would you say that that one event changed something in you?
No, not necessarily, because that change, right from a kid, I was very fortunate. I came from a well-to-do family. We had a great house. And I remember as a kid looking out my window always, which overlooked our swimming pool. The swimming pool overlooked the tennis court and the large garden. And I remember looking towards Alexandra, one of the townships that was terribly hit by apartheid era, and the fight between Zulus and Xhosa. And there was this terrible thing that happened where the tire burnings, where tires were placed over people, and it created black smoke. And I remember as a kid, as young as like 12, looking out my window, crying, just thinking, what is this? How can there, you know, be such differences in social class and finance, and you know, and so right, you know, as I say, I was an activist. So right from the beginning, I was very unimpressed with apartheid. Never believed in it. So when the change came, it was a relief. You know, it had to come. It had to come. You know.
It was, so what you're saying is that event was, I mean, the question from Buff was like, do you call it, do you
No,
think
the rugby, no, didn't. It didn't alter anything that was inherently there within me. You know?
Okay.
The event was a celebration, absolutely, and I loved, and that celebration will always remain with me. But it didn't change who I was.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like something like really change your way of thinking or okay,
No,
okay. But do you have a particular moment in your life that changed everything for you? Particularly, maybe it can be an encounter with someone, a personal event, something that really changed your life in a good way, of course, or
Yeah,
in
I
a
think,
bad way. Who knows?
yeah, no, I think, you know, there are a lot of things that have changed my life. As you know, I'm just struggling to think of something coming to mind now, some really catalyst. Well, meeting Claire, you know, let's go
That was
with
a
that.
change.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I'd had previous relationships that I was never that happy with, and we've grown together as people. So certainly meeting Claire, you know, I think we build each other up, and we have the same interests, which is amazing. My mother passing also, yes, that was a huge one. I think returning to acting really is the biggest change in my life, and that, you know, that is, because it's something I always knew I was missing, but it was only coming to Europe that opened that up completely for me, and also turning 60. And I just thought, you know, it's now or never. I need to get back to what I'm really passionate about. And that's not production design. It's not the art department. So certainly coming to Europe was a big change in my life. Yeah.
What about you, Claire?
I mean, definitely, and even though it's a terrible event, which is the passing of my mum, I take it. You know, you can always take things in a positive way or in a negative way. So, of course, it's negative. Of course, you're losing your mother, and it's but you. I always say, you know, I had a fantastic childhood with two beautiful parents that really instilled in me certain values, and one of the things they instill in me is like, you know, you only have one life, you just have to go and discover, and they both had done that in their own ways. So I'm kind of fearless in that way, and I've always maybe too fearless in the way that I take decisions like this, and I move very quickly. I go to Scotland, I go to England, I go to New York, I go to South America. Well, the way we came to France is another story, because it was also like an impulsive, you know. Um,
Move.
so so I had the best years of my mother, and I rather have that than and the love that, you know, she gave me, and my dad as well, rather than being a full life with somebody that doesn't love you and doesn't give you anything. So that was a big event. Second event, yeah, the way that I ended up, you know, I was supposed to go, when I was living in London, I was supposed to go back to Scotland to spend the Easter weekend. And I went to Victoria Station to take the train, and there was this sign on the pavement, New York for 99 pound.
Yeah.
It was in 89. And I called my friend in London. I left my bag there. I just took a camera bag, a toothbrush, and 3 hours later, I was on the plane to New York.
That's you.
Uh, spent
You're so
4 days.
impulsive.
Amazing.
You're just
Yeah,
like
I am.
doing
I'm
your
a bit.
thing.
Yo, no, I know, I know. Um,
She's the
spent
dangerous one.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I love,
debatable,
what I love is
debatable.
like, I have the feeling that your stories come together because you lost your
Yeah.
mom at a very young age. You were about
Yeah,
16. You were
yeah,
both, you were in a relationship, but it ended like at one point, and then you met. You are both in films.
Yeah.
And you all, the both of you said something that was an event that was particularly difficult for you was the losing your mother. So,
yeah.
and what is a moment of vulnerability or a significant failure, and what did you learn from it?
Which
Because
one?
I think that we can always learn from our mistakes,
Yes.
and I think that we
Absolutely.
have
Yes.
to admit that it's okay to fail, it's okay to
Yes.
make mistakes, because I have the feeling that in our culture, particularly in Europe and more in Belgium, it's like, oh, failure is not good, you always
Yeah.
have to show success. And I
Yeah.
think that you're learning more from failure and success. So when did you feel the most
If you wish to do so, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Tress, you go first.
I can answer that because I think it took a long time. You know, when I was younger, older people used to say to me, oh, with wisdom, you know, with age comes wisdom. And I used to think, oh, shut up, you know, you don't want to hear it as a youngster. But my God, it's true. It is so true. And I think for me, I learned to deal with failure and disappointment. And you have to as an actress as well, because we face it all the time and you've got to be prepared for it. I don't think I was when I was younger. Um, I remember my biggest disappointment was I did there's a director in me and a screenwriter in me as well. And in South Africa, I had entered also a screenwriting competition, not the one as big as Claire's, but another national one in South Africa, in Cape Town, and I'd won it. And then I had also entered Mnet's new director, and I was so passionate about directing. And the head of Mnet came to me afterwards, and I came second, so I didn't win the commission to direct. And she said to me, Tracey, all the votes were for you. You should have won. I'm not meant to be telling you this, but it is about previously disadvantaged. And I understood that. That it was the time in South Africa where underrepresented, and in this case, it was a super black man, and he won the commission, and I got it. But the disappointment for me was hearing it should have come my way. And I struggled with that at first. And my dad, I remember, said to me, just think about it. Think about it. I know you also want this commission, but think about it from their perspective. And they are more deserving, Tracey, at this stage. And I kind of got that, but I struggled with the disappointment for a long time. And it actually took me away from directing 100%. It's still something I feel is going to be in my future. And I know in Claire's future as well, we both write projects. Claire's brilliant with coming up with concepts. She blows me away. We sit and watch television together, and Claire tells me what's going to happen next because she's read every single script writing book there is. It's mind-blowing to me. But once Claire has got a concept, we work very well together. I'm really good with dialogue because I take on the character she's created. So we work really well together. And, we often say, is it too late? No, it's not, because I believe we will direct in the future. I'd love to see us direct as a team. I think the whole genre of writer-director is amazing because if you've written it, you know what you want. And I really feel independent filmmaking is taking off big time. And I think in fact, I know there is a place for us, and it's up to us. We have been lazy in the past. We were lazy in South Africa, but something has changed. And, we both now really putting in work and effort to creating what always should have been, I feel. I'm that person who kind of senses something and feels it to be true. And so the time is now,
So maybe the fact that you didn't get the commission at the time, so you learned that maybe it wasn't your time.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And this is what maybe you said it in shorter words than me. 100%. Everything happens for a reason. My mother, the big statement, you are where you're meant to be right now. And that stays with me. And bless her for that. I couldn't agree more. There you go.
What about you, Claire? Were you a moment where you were more vulnerable, or you experienced failure or disappointment, whatever in your life that makes you change something in your mind? I don't know.
I think, first of all, failure, you have to take it as a failure if it's according to your own barometer. Meaning that you can't feel like a failure if it's, oh, what are people going to think about me and whatever. And I think one of the mistakes we make in life is to always put ourselves and compare ourselves to people, the expectations. And I think for me, that's the first thing. And like to go back to what Tracey was saying, as you grow older, you shed all that, and you realize that it's about you and not what people think, like how you dress, how you succeed, and all that. It's your own thing. I think for me, and I still deal with it. Tracey was talking about laziness. I don't know. I can't call it laziness. I think for me, and it's funny because I wrote that as a Motivation Monday today on the Actors Copilot. I'm the queen of self-sabotage. I am absolutely, and as I was writing it, I was like, I'm the epitome of that. It's just like this almost to fear success, almost, or what could happen, and find many reasons not to do something and procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh no, I rather iron now than to write a scene for my thing. And that is for me, that's my failure. That is something that I struggle with every day. I know about it. I know absolutely all the sign of like, it's I'm textbook self-sabotage, but and I'm dealing with it, and I have to release the fear of not being good enough, especially when you're in the artist world where we're very vulnerable and very sensitive to what people think, which is exactly what, coming back to what I was saying at first. You shouldn't care about that. You should do it for yourself. You should do it for your own pleasure. So what was the original question? Sorry.
It's a moment, like you said, that your big failure is about self-sabotaging yourself all the time.
Well.
Because you're aware of that, because you know that, so you're trying to work on it, because it's really difficult not to succeed if you don't recognize what is not working. You first have to know what is wrong.
Exactly.
It is like, I'm sorry, it's not like there's nothing wrong with you, of course not. But
no, but I
you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, just you have to know, okay, I'm keep failing, but maybe because I'm just repeating a scheme, a pattern.
But
And I have
here's
to
the thing.
work.
Hold on. But Beth, here's the thing. I mean, here's Claire, who's just been shortlisted for Cannes script writing.
I know. I was about to.
He
I was
won,
about to say. I was about to say.
He was shortlisted for a huge competition last year. She won the biggest competition South Africa's ever had. She has just represented France at Series Mania. I mean, I don't know.
No, but I don't think, it's
like,
but so yes, the kind of thing. So I think we discussed it, Buff, and I was in the last round and I didn't get it, but that gave me. And this year, when 2026 started, and maybe it's because it's a fire horse, year, so I was like, well, it's gonna be, shed the snake, off we go on the horse, and I promised myself to really stop doing all this self-sabotage. So I've said yes to go with the CNC, which is the Centre National du Cinéma in France, to be representing France for a tour we did, and eventually ended up in Ceremania. So, and I made great contacts. So that was one, and which has sacrificed a job that I was supposed to do Emily in Paris, and so I sacrificed that. But there's a reason for everything, and I'm glad I did. I met amazing people, and it makes me want to go next year to Ceremania to present my TV series Danger Point, which is the second project I've got on the go. And then I applied, and I was okay, let's go. And I had great feedback. I didn't get selected, but thinking about it, with everything that is going on with the Actors Co-Pilot right now, it would have been too much to leave right now when we're about to launch, to go next week to Cannes. It would have been too much. So I'm absolutely amazed and grateful to have been considered and to have this amazing feedback, because it really opens door and lifts something in me to carry on. So and I think it's just like by doing things, the more you act upon something, the more you create motivation, and not the other way around. You just the more you do, and momentum, it creates momentum, and it's just like and so
Okay,
it's
guys,
an exciting journey.
One more time. Too much information. Let's go back.
All right.
Because you're talking about really amazing things, and I want people to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Because I heard about a script, two projects you have, Claire. You were selected. You won one of the biggest South African competition. I want to hear all about it. So let's go back a bit, right? So you said that you're writing. You are what are your two projects, and when did you start writing those projects, and why did you why is it happening now, as you said, because it didn't happen years before? So why those projects? What is it all about? How did it start?
It started with actress called Dee Stone, who was in South Africa to do a movie. Dee Stone is known for being the mother in the movie E.T., the Steven Spielberg movie.
Mhm.
She came to South Africa, and it's before I even started as an AD really, and I was a driver as well. I was a personal driver, personal assistant, and I had lots of wonderful evening with her and her daughter as well, who was at the time quite young. And Dee, upon departing in South Africa, bought me a book called Story by Robert McKee, which is one of the most essential book regarding screenwriting, because we was talking and I was telling her about my love of telling stories and storytelling. And so that was the first thing. Then I flash forward in 2013, 2012. I've always, my favorite genre in movie making and in storytelling is the mafia. I love mafia. I love Scorsese. I love Goodfellas, and I love all those mafia movies, which is Scorsese, Goodfellas, or The Godfather by Coppola, because I like the code of honor of the mafia guys, and how they can live two lives, and I would trust more a mafia guy than I would trust a police guy, especially in South Africa. Anyway, and with what's going on in South Africa, come a project that I call Danger Point. And I wrote the treatment, and I entered a competition in South Africa in 2013 called The Big Idea, and I won it, and I was given a mentor to develop the story. So we developed it. We approached in order to sort of get some funding from the NTVF. I didn't get it because, once again, and I think it just goes back to no, actually, maybe not. I didn't get it, and then I carried on working.
That was
Came
back
to
in 2013. So
2013.
30
So
years
there,
ago.
exactly. Just to tell you that I've been very not really at it, but also, I had to work, and as I said, I need to be really, into it to really develop it. Then I started developing another story called The Eye of the Telescope, which is more personal because it's really based on the loss of my mother. And it's a love story between a circus performer that is a disgraced, a circus performer who has to find another job and found herself in a small village in the Karoo, which is a really semi-arid area in South Africa, where the SALT, which is the South African largest telescope, is based, which is one of the largest one in the world, and it's an amazing place. Anyway, and so like a love story with the astronomer there. And so those are the two stories: the TV series Danger Point and The Eye of the Telescope, which is the one I presented for Cannes. And yeah, I have to do something with it, and I'm ready to really, now that we've moved to France, there's funding in France, which is far more accessible. There's funding for developing scripts, so you can
Like
stop working
co-production.
and get a grant to write, which doesn't exist in South Africa. So I feel I'm in the right place, in the right year, in the right frame of mind to really pick up where I left it, and motivated to do so, because again, also with age, I think I've got nothing to lose, and I've got more confidence, and yeah, it's now or never. Let's go.
So now is the time. So let's go back again, because you said that you were in South Africa for more than 20 years. So when did you decide to come back in Europe, and why did you decide to come back in Europe? Before we go on, Tracey.
Well, we were actually in Europe at the time at my sister-in-law's, well, my brother and his wife, their daughter's wedding. And Claire and I had been invited, and we had been speaking for some time about, my parents were based in France, and about
they have moved to France.
coming back to France, Europe, and Claire coming back to her roots, me coming back to European roots. So we had been speaking sometime. Now, here's where nothing happens by chance. At the wedding, my sister-in-law sat me right next to a gentleman who we started speaking to, who said, he has a house in France near Aimé, where we welcome to go and stay. And Claire and I thought, wow, this sounds great. You know, we'd love to go to France. We'd love to meet up, and me to meet for the first time Claire's two best friends from school. They all grew up in a tiny village together in France, and they're known as the Three Musketeers. And, you know, it's a beautiful story where this friendship is stuck together over many, you know, all these years.
Half a century.
Half a century, you know, and so we thought, what a great opportunity, let's go. And we came over. I fell in love with France, and Claire suddenly put some feelers out because she had worked with a lot of people in South Africa, French producers. And she put some feelers out. Next thing, she gets a job. She says, right, Trace.
Wait.
Yes.
I'm gonna
go on, Claire.
Wait.
Jump in.
Okay.
First of all, we had decided to take a big break, and we took 2 months off because we went to the wedding, and then we were going to come to France anyway to see your parents. We went to Berlin, we went to Switzerland, and then you're totally right. And then this gentleman just said, well, if you're in France, why don't you take advantage? We have this beautiful property, which is southwest of France as well. You're going to be in that area. It's 2 hours from your parents. So why don't you go there? We went there. Being in France, as Tracey says, I've been a few times. We had come back. I was like, I'm starting to miss the old stones, the cheese. I mean, that the cheese, you know, and all that.
The wine. And the wine.
And the wine that goes very well with the cheese. Then we went there, and at some stage, I think we went back to England, Tress, after that.
Yeah, we did go back for a bit.
And then I said to Tress, I said, here's the thing. Why don't she was supposed to, you flew back in August on the 9th, and mid-July, I said, you know what? Why don't I stay and try to find work here?
Which you did.
But just to illustrate the impulsivity of the thing, it's not like, you know, it's like, so I say, you go back, I stay here, I see if I can find some work, I'm going to do something, and which was quite not that easy because in France during the summertime, everybody's on holidays. Anyway, Tracey leaves, I stay, I go to Paris, I stay with a friend of mine who's a photographer in a great studio, and I start, you know, putting feelers out, and then I get an answer. Yes, we have yes, and it's in September. Absolutely, love your CV. So I phoned Tress and I said, okay, just sell everything and come.
So I'm in South Africa, and this is where, thank God, I ran the art department for like 20 years, because I literally packed up, and we had a big apartment in South Africa. It was very open plan. It was really super. It was on a quite grungy on the top floor, like a studio apartment, complete open plan, overlooking the entire of Cape Town. So we had set up like a reading lounge and a TV lounge. I mean, there were so many sofas in this big open plan space, you know, with those sort of like a New York loft apartment with the pillars, and it was like a pinball machine and this and a drum kit, and, you know, you name it. And it was like an extension of my prop house, basically. And it was fabulous. And I had 2 weeks to sell everything. And
bit more, but I mean,
it was 2 weeks, Claire, basically 2 weeks. And thank goodness that I had run an art department for so many years, because I got my team in and we cracked it. We nailed it. Obviously, we got in outside help for the selling and whatnot. And the next thing, I'm flying back, you know, to Europe to start our new life. Yeah.
You have a crazy life. You have crazy, like, you just place to place, to just going with the flow with your artist. Like, where I think that you both are, your house is you too. So it doesn't matter
Exactly.
where you
Oh,
are
well,
Exactly.
on the world. It doesn't
E-
matter. You just go, okay,
Exactly.
I'm in France, just come.
Yep.
Okay, I'm in England, just come. Like you can do that. You're allowed to do that, and you allow
mm,
yourself to do that. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's super. I,
Mm.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
thank
But
thank you. And we're
also,
very lucky because we've also said if we ever just ended up in a caravan on a piece of ground somewhere, we'd be as happy as hell. As
yeah,
long as we doing something creative, because we're
yeah,
very creative people, we'd be happy as hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
But also,
about creative, let's talk about your many roles. Because you're not only an actress or production designer, you're not only an AD, you also started a wonderful project.
Yeah.
Tell me about it because it is really, really recent. The
Yeah.
Actors Co-Pilot. So I've heard about it for the first time in December 2025, I think.
Yes.
I think that you
Yes.
launched the
Yes.
Instagram
Yes.
the
Correct.
Instagram
Correct.
account,
Correct.
and that's how I heard about it for the first time. But I want to know, like, why you decided
Yeah.
to do that. How come you said, okay, this is needed? Because of course, there are a lot of conversation about AI,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
a lot of people are fearful because they are
Yeah.
saying it's going to um,
Replace.
steal our
Yeah.
job. It's going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ruin our
Yeah.
especially for us as actors or voiceover actors. You know what I
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
all the spectrum of being in this industry. So, how did you come with the idea?
Again, this is nothing happens by chance. I had a very large knee operation and I found myself, I was in a knee rehabilitation clinic for 6 months. Or no, actually, sorry, I was there for 2 months, but I was in rehabilitation with my knee on crutches for up to 6 months. And it was a similar time to AI taking over, coming out. Let's not be taking over. So, which I don't, that's, let me say what I believe about AI. I mean, firstly, would I prefer a world without it? Yes, of course, but it's here and it's here to stay. And I'm seeing where it can be incredibly supportive. So in that rehabilitation time, I have a very mathematical brain. I'm a creative mathematical brain. That's me. And the left side of your brain is about puzzle solving, etc. And I found great interest in AI, and I started not just doing generic AI, like the majority of people where you use ChatGPT. I started doing courses and really deep diving into the possibilities. I then at that time, Replit, you could vibe codes. I had this idea. I suddenly thought, okay, because of my discoveries on a deeper level, I thought, hey, what is the big pain point of actors with auditions? It's that we never have enough time. We don't have enough time. And therefore, our performance suffers because we're setting up camera, lighting, everything. We're doing the whole damn production. So I thought, surely with AI, it can help us reach choices quicker, that we don't need to second guess. But I started then looking at generic AI. I thought, no, this is crap because it's giving me generic choices. They're not rooted in me. I thought, aha. So if I create a system with now the mathematical brain is kicking in for me, if I created a system where I loaded all my personal DNA, my trigger points, everything in my life, surely then the breakdown would be rooted in those choices. And I wouldn't need to, another pain point of actors, we second guess our choices under pressure. I thought I wouldn't need to. I could then work on the performance. So I quickly did a prototype in vibe coding, and I thought, this isn't that good. It
What is
needs
vibe coding?
vibe
yeah,
coding is you just talk your idea to something like Replit and it creates an app. And this is why there are so many apps coming out, but they surface level, and I thought I need a developer in on this. So
Right.
immediately I started sourcing throughout the world. I came across Arrow Digital Group, who are based in Brazil, and I brought them on as the developers. I brought another company, GG Studio, on to do the website. And this app started developing, and it was insane. The first beta test, suddenly, and here again, everything happens as it's meant to. I suddenly got this really pressurized audition from Kate Bone for Star City, which is the follow-up to All of Mankind on Apple TV. And I thought, I started panicking, like we do as actors. It's like, you know, how am I going to get to the depth of this character and deliver this tape in this very short deadline? I used the system, and it just gave me, on the bold choice, it gave me something mind-blowing. And I thought, wow. And I knew exactly what to do for the audition. I was so centered. I was so relaxed. I did the audition. I landed the role. That
Wow.
point, I thought, I need to share this with other actors. And from there, it's developed into, you know, acting coach. The big thing with AI casting searches at the moment is we need to really up our digital footprint. And so many people, you know, don't quite know how to go about that. And we've created a profile which is interlinked to all your other profiles. It immediately multiplies your chances of being seen by AI casting. There's the acting coach on board, because 24/7 you can speak to this acting coach, and the coach has been trained over 8 months of insane development back and forth with Claire, myself, the developers. We've spoken to casting directors, we've spoken to other actors, and this whole mind of all of us has gone into a system which is fundamentally AI, but it's been trained to deal with you as the actor, because your personal DNA is in the system.
Mm.
And it's just like having a 24/7 coach in your living room. And just quickly to address the big elephant in the room, AI, and concerns of actors out there, I get it. Of course, I get it. But what I've been saying, and since, you know, since July last year, is there are a lot of pros to AI. Number one, independent filmmaking will be on the increase. And my God, it is. The other thing I said is theater is going to start really building up. More and more people are going to go back to the theater because they need that human interaction. It's happening. And I said it's going to take a long time for actors to appreciate that AI is there as a support system. It's not there to replace them. And that AI filmmaking will become a category of filmmaking. History has always, we've always adapted. The film industry, you know, from black and white film to color film, it took a while to accept. The first animation film was 1907, but the first mainstream animation film, Walt Disney, in 1937, people were like, it's the plague for a while until they got used to it. AI is going to be another category of filmmaking. That's it, pure and simple. You know, that is my belief 100%. And I see, you know, I stay up to date with everything happening in the industry, and I can see that the industry is slowly, people are slowly now starting to accept, because equity, because guardrails are being put in place. Excuse me, the Oscars have just announced the 99th rules for the Oscars, and that is no AI acting is allowed in a category. It's a separate category. You know, the right guardrails are being put in place. That is essential, and it's happening. And I think as mankind and humanity, you know, humans and humanity has always adapted throughout history.
I agree. So
And
you came out with the idea, you did a prototype, and then when did you, Claire, get on board with Copilot and actors Copilot?
she was
So
working, paying for it at first.
yeah. You know, when I work, I'm not at home. I mean, you know, we live in Southwest France and I work from Bordeaux. So most of the time I work in Paris or Marseille or Spain or Romania or wherever. So, but I've seen uh, when Tracy was recovering from the knee, you know, I come back on weekend and she was like, oh, I think I've got a great idea. You know, what about this? What about that? And I was like, for me, it was like a mountain. You know, I was like, well, how are you going to do that? Because it's really a world that is not ours. I mean, like all this technology, you know, it's vibe coding. I had exactly the same reaction as you. What is vibe coding? I mean, she was telling me all those. I was like, and then she was showing me. Then you know, the next time what she's been doing. I mean, it was insane. And so I let her run with it, and she explained to me, and I was like, wow, it sounds incredible. And that's how I came on board. Just like, and
Yeah.
every time she was showing me more and more
I
and
think
sending
when I
me
showed
things.
you the
And
prototype, you know,
yeah, yeah.
in Jan basically was
And
like
also the
speaks for itself.
prototype and also the whole the layout, you know, and so we discussed it and we changed the layout a little bit and the colors, we decided the colors. That's where I came joining really. Like once the heavy lifting a bit done really, well, beside developers, but
So
and yeah,
you
I
were
mean,
with the developers from the get-go, Tracy, or
No, I bought them on later in the progress when in the process when I saw that the prototype was so strong, but it needed that human input. It needed a proper
professional, yeah,
and
professional developers,
exactly?
and
that's
and I
that's
think
when and sorry and yeah, bringing them on board. I mean, within the first week, it's been amazing to watch over the months now. This grow to where it is now. Every time it amazes me every time I use it. Actually, I've just had an audition the other day, and it was insane. And I wonder whether the AI casting search got me the audition. I'm pretty sure it did because it wanted South African, tick. Large, tick. I'm 5'9", as you know, you've met me, and over 60, tick. And next thing, an audition that I don't think I normally would have got. So here's a pro to AI. If we put our digital footprint in place, it's going to open up castings because your name's going to come up in the searches, you know, and it's all, you know, the big thing that one of the big seminars I went on with Robbins, what's his first name again? Tim Robbins. No, he's an actor. Tony Robbins, the big, he's a big
Yes,
entrepreneur.
yeah.
And
coach,
one of the big seminars I joined with him, he kept on speaking about one concept about how when you use deep level AI as a support tool, how it can save you time. And I thought, wow, that's great. Because then you've got time to focus, in our case, on performance. But if you're someone else, you've got time to focus on things you really want to do in life, you know, and spend more time with your family, with your pets, with your, you know, going to the cinema, all sorts of things. I think like any technology, there are pros and cons.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
ouais, ouais.
But I think in our industry specific, we heading in the right direction. The discussions around the guardrails at the moment are beautiful. They
Right.
are happy, you know.
So how
So
many people are involved now in the Actors Home Copilot, Claire? So
in the actors
you're like you're
co-pilot,
Tracy, Claire,
it's
developers.
Claire and myself. We're going to be bringing on, we got other coaches in the background. We're going to be, I can announce, we are bringing on the dialect coach from the big Netflix TV series, One Piece. I'm sure you've heard of One Piece on Netflix. The dialect coach, who was the dialect coach on One Piece, is joining us. We're going to be getting in, you know, we're growing, we're a startup. And so every month, new things are going to be happening. We've got people lined up for our masterclasses. We can't quite announce yet who it is, but this came from Claire, which is the beauty of the two of us putting our minds together. She said to me one day, Tracy, think of it. So many times actors face auditions and they ignore what's written in the script. Now, when it's written and directed by the same person, that director knows what they want. So you've got to be able to see those clues in the script, you know, be able to recognize those clues and really up your chance of landing the role, because you're giving the writer director exactly what they want. And that's our first seminar. We've got a great guest speaker who is a writer director. So we're having masterclasses every month. We want the human involvement,
Of
you
course.
know.
But now from now it's like just the two of us, the two of
Yes,
you, sorry, the two of
yes,
you mainly,
yes,
and then you're bringing people, like you work with
yes,
developers from other countries. Tell
yes,
me about
yes.
that.
Okay, the developers in the other countries, a big team. On the web page, we had Gabrielle from Gigi's studio, and he was working with a team of 7 people. So that is in terms of website development. Then on the other side, the development of the app, we have an amazing company, as I say, Arrow Digital Group. And they're both
Amazing.
winning companies. They are mind-blowing. Some of them are quite young. KO, who's the CEO, is older, but their minds just blow me away chatting to these youngsters. And, you know, I at first said to Claire, but if this is about personal DNA and our target market could be anything from 18 to 80, because that's the beauty of acting, you know, you can be any age. How is you know, the one developer is like 22. How is she going to understand life experience? It's mind-blowing. You know, it really surprised me. I mean, these youngsters have put things that neither of us even thought about into it as well. You know,
No, it's
yeah,
yeah.
it's been a beautiful and painful process, but it's been beautiful, you know, because
Yeah,
also we're creatives. We
ups and
act,
downs.
you know, actor, writer, first AD. I mean, we're creatives.
And
We're
also,
not,
I guess, with your life experience, you being for 3 decades production designer, you, Claire, being an AD, working with so many different people. So I
yeah,
guess you have a huge network that you can use, and
yes,
Yeah.
you know,
yes, which
so
we
do
have
you feel
been.
that it will really help grow your startup?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the network of people we know, particularly Claire, has been invaluable in terms of development. Absolutely invaluable. I mean, we've had top producers and, you know, all sorts of like
Actors as well.
high-level people with input
Yeah.
from, and yeah, it's been amazing. Yeah, Claire, I mean, you sort of brought a lot of those
Um,
people.
well, first I wanted to track back a little bit for the process of the developer, because you know you don't find a developer like this, and it was a
Yeah,
really a search to find
Yeah.
the person. You know, it's like entering a relationship. You
yeah.
have to have above and beyond the capacity of that person or that team of person. They need to understand they understand you, and to make your vision come true. So Tracy, she went through 40, she had 40 interviews. So
Yeah.
40 different companies that she had Zoom call with to, and then at the end it was down to 4, and then it was down to 2, and it was an agonizing
It was a very
weekend.
agonizing decision.
Well,
Yeah,
and then so it's, you know, the pros, the cons, the this, the that, yeah, but this one, and it's just like, and eventually it was like, go with your gut. You know, what is
yeah.
your gut? You know, without trying to the pros and cons put that aside, but because they're really on par with each other. What do you think? So we chose Gabriel, and
We
you
had
know,
this board
Gabriel was
here
in.
in the background, that board
I
there, it
see.
was
Yeah.
Well,
divided into like
yeah,
pros and cons and like, yeah. Yeah, it's been a process. Yeah.
and
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 my
and
biggest
also,
blessing, sorry, I've got to
yeah,
say, it's my biggest blessing. And part of my fear, Beth, because Claire was away while I was doing all this, it was, please, I need Claire to believe in this project, because I admire her mind so much in terms of film.
mm,
And I mean, you know, every part I've got, apart from the one that she wasn't here for, that I landed with the system now, so I don't need you anymore. Claire
I've
directed.
got that.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. You got the hook.
Well,
Claire directed me in, and so I appreciate everything she you know, she's got to say. And when you came back to me, Claire, and when I showed that prototype and you said, wow,
No, it was.
it anchored me even more, you know,
Mm.
Yeah.
it really, I
Yes.
needed that. Because you
No, because
second guessed yourself, obviously,
of
you know,
course,
everything.
you know,
So, yeah,
it's a subject that is you know, still, even though AI is on a big rise and everything, but people are fearful of it with good reason, I think, for when it's used the wrong way. But it is a tool, and for me, the Actors Copilot is like a big toolbox with everything for actors, you know, and that's what we want to develop, from blogs to masterclass to tips, you know, for like technical tips to study of scripts.
yeah,
And because that's what I said to
Yes.
Tress. I said, for me, when I write, the first thing I do is, especially the development of character, it's to really do a complete breakdown of the story and the backstory of the character. And that's why I think it's important to have a writer coming on board for a masterclass, because, especially even more if the director, but like a writer, because I know that what I write is all the clues are in there. So if the actor that is on the receiving end of the script can understand, and you know what the writer has
great.
been and hidden, and like, you know, like a sigh or this or that, I think it's very valuable for
Of
actors,
Mm.
because it makes sense to me.
course.
Writer create a character, actor try to understand the character where you guys speak, then you know, and then you know. Um, yeah, so it's been it's been quite a journey,
Was, yeah.
because it is out of our comfort zone. I mean, we creators, yes, but you know, it's
No,
you have time of
luckily I was in the past, but you know, that's not
yeah.
really my forte. But yeah, we're learning, and
No.
marketing is tricky as well.
Yeah,
That's
so that's
learning, you know.
the next thing, and the next thing that we've especially where we've been learning is social media. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, I have an account on Facebook since I don't know when,
Oh,
and then Instagram, whatever. But I just put a picture once in a while, and with no idea really the intricacy
Mm-hmm.
of the algorithm and all that, and how it
Mm-hmm.
works. And so we've learned a lot about that.
yeah, it's hard work.
The consistency that you have to have, and it's not like this. You have to be
Exactly.
consistent. It's to
Yeah,
know who is your target people, is to really
yeah,
explain, and to be
yeah,
you know, I said consistent already, but to be to know, like, it's about targeting, it's about, and then sales eventually, and marketing. So,
yeah.
and also it's to be organized on every day. So every beginning of the month I do a monthly calendar. This is what we need to do every
Yeah.
day.
AD,
uh no, no, but so
fantastic.
that's why, you know,
Exactly.
like you have to, yeah, but
Yeah,
you
I love it.
use all
What am I doing
your
Your
today, Claire?
skills.
but
You
you
use your
know,
skills. You
Yeah,
use what you already know, and then you
that's
add
fab.
exactly,
what you
right,
don't know, and then it makes something
and you
completely
apply it,
different.
Yeah,
yeah, and you apply it.
it's fab teamwork. Yeah, it's a fab
It's
teamwork.
great. No, and okay, I have so many questions, but we don't have that much time. But
Oh,
did
Yeah.
it already launch? So this the actors
But
co-pilot.
what we did is on the 1st of May, we launched there were early user subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from May the 1st until ending this week, we've had the
Yes.
final beta testing, and it's
All
been
right.
remarkable. There've been quite a few roles have been landed during that period, and Monday the 18th, it's now finally out there for the public. Basically, put it that
All
way.
right. So what is,
So
give us just some details. The website. What is the website?
it's www.theactorscopilot, all one word.com. And there you've got your subscription logins, etc. There are 2 subscriptions out at the moment because it's called Actors Copilot. We came up with economy class, business class, and in the future, first class. So
Mm-hmm.
economy
mm,
class is basically the core program, with the personal DNA, which is where you input all your triggers, and it's a
yeah,
process you go through. The bottom line is the more you work with the system, the greater your character choices are
Right.
going to become. And it's insane to see the difference. Suddenly your bold choices are so bold and so rooted in you. And a lot of them have surprised me. They're not things I actually would have immediately come up with. Maybe 3 weeks later, I would have, but not immediately. And it also gives you like a secret for the character, which is, you know, all of us carry secrets, and it's a beautiful thing to attach to an audition, to know in your mind, like, you've actually been writing these letters to your daughter for 12, you know, it's amazing. Anyway,
But that is the economical.
Yeah, so economy is the personal
Economy.
DNA, it's the character, the casting director's brief upload, because often people, this casting director said to us, my God, the amount of auditions, people are missing things in the brief.
Yeah,
We don't want to cast them. No, not necessarily, because if they, you know, the director, you know, how do we trust them with the director? So that's there. Then there's also
sides breakdown,
sides for your character breakdown. Everything is privacy, you know, privacy is at the core because of NDAs, etc. You get your character breakdown. You can then, in business class, take that to your acting coach. Like, say you were asked for variation on a scene, it will immediately give you from guilt to empathy, or whatever, you know, whatever is most dynamic for the scene.
and relevant.
Yeah, it's also the profile URL. That's a big one because of digital footprint. What else is there? There's also the audition tracker, which I love, because so often I've had an audition and I've suddenly thought, shit, you know, 2 years ago I did a similar thing. I wish I had those notes. No, but you don't, obviously. Now you do, because everything's kept and you just go back to it. Okay, great.
It's a big vault of information. And and also the blogs are amazing.
Yeah, I wish we had those tools when I started almost 15 years ago, because it was so much much more difficult when I started, you know, because you have to find everything by yourself.
By yourself,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
We didn't have this,
and that takes time.
We didn't have this well of tools that
Yes.
the younger generation has, like the AI, you know, the conferences, the workshops, and all those things that are really helpful. I wish we had that 15
I
years
agree,
ago.
especially when I was 21, 40 years ago. I wish I'd had that.
Right.
Because that's also why we've decided support is a big one. And I know that only too well from when I was young and left acting. So what we also including, it's also, we've got a community page. At the moment, it's Facebook. We will move platform at some stage, but Facebook at the moment is cool, and it's going to be a private community page for subscribers where they're accountable to each other. I'll check in. I'll also, Claire had a great idea this morning, which we will definitely do, which is monologue. We will write one monologue.
Okay.
And every actor who's within the subscription who wants to must perform the same monologue.
Right. The variation and the interpretation of the same thing.
How, you know, exactly that. To see how there are so many interpretations of the same subject matter. And all of that's going to be on the community page with the masterclass, interaction. We're there to answer questions, you know.
So guys, remember this, www.theactorspilot in one word,
Copilot.
www.theactorcopilot.com. All in one word. You also have the Instagram. Do you have a Facebook as well?
Yes, we've got Facebook as well. Facebook, for some reason, there's a dash between the C and the O. So it's the Actors O-Pilot on Facebook. But I can send you the link.
So, but I will put everything in the description, guys. So you will have all the information, because you have also the Instagram, which is the Actors Co-Pilot. And as Tracey was saying, the same on Facebook with a dash. We don't know why, but there is a dash. So the actors, it's like the actors dash co-pilot, something like that.
Who knows?
So it's the actors co-pilot.
The actors co-dash.
So the
Pilot.
co-pilot has a dash in between.
All right. I will put all the information.
It's dashing.
Yeah.
I will put all the information here. And you know what? I actually took your test a couple of weeks ago, the Actors Pilot tool, to discover my archetype. I did it because you have that tool.
What were you?
Yeah.
What are you?
So I am a mentor. I am a mentor, and I am my newest archetype is magician.
Wow.
So
nice.
I did the Actors Pilot.
And how did you relate to that?
And
how did you relate? And that's on the website for anyone to use at any
so
time.
You can use the tool. So because I think I remember like a couple of years ago, someone asked me, what is your archetype? I was like, what? And there are like 12 archetypes, of course. And they said, yeah, but you really need to know your archetype so you can work with that. And I was always cast as, the strong woman, the woman who can decide and stuff like that, because this is the first impression we've got. So I've asked to a lot of people around me, and I asked them, what was your first impression of me? Because the casting director, they don't know you, so they see you for the first time. And the moment you enter the room, they already have a feeling about you. So I was asking people that I've known for 20 years or so, and sometimes people that I just met, and I asked them, what was your first impression of me? And I realized that using the tool, the Actors Pilot tool, it was kind of the same. Like this feature of me, mentor, came back quite often.
Amazing. I see it.
So I use it because I said, okay, I need to use it because what I had personally, it was like more like creator, magician, hero, or ruler. But I know that sometimes it is.
I mean, according to Union, we are made up of all 12 archetypes.
Yes,
but
exactly. But then you have more.
There's the predominant, And
exactly.
what I love with that tool is did you go into the subheadings at the top about how you can use that in the room?
Yes, I read the whole thing. I really because I think it was really important to know how to use it, because it's not just knowing what your type is, but how you use it and how you can make it work for you in an audition, and and also it doesn't define you, but at least you have an idea on how the other perceives you, because there is a difference between how I perceive myself and how you perceive me.
Exactly.
There's a huge gap. But and what is important is how your personality is read on the screen, and not how I perceive myself. It's more about how the audience will perceive me. So I need to know that. I need to have that information. So that's why I use it. I was like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to see if it matched, and it matched actually.
And I hope people listening do use it, because even if you're not an actor, just go to the website and see it, because it's one of your casting powers,
Exactly.
So nice, good.
So so that's where the results say, okay, this is the first step before going to the Actors Co-Pilot totally. So I took that step and it was really great. So before our little game, I still have one or two questions for you guys. So you started this amazing project, YouTube. What is your vision for the future, for the next 5-10 years?
Do you want me to go? I mean,
you go. I think Tracey is a brainchild and of the project. And from the beginning, she's had very clear, defined idea of progress and how to make it better and better and work. And so you go.
Okay, so I mean, basically, one of the visions of the future is, and this comes from also a lot of conversations with Claire's independent filmmaking. I love it. I believe firmly that Honora won the Oscars for a reason. I think the world is gearing more and more towards independent filmmaker making. We don't need to spend, $100 million to make good films, because good films are storytelling. It could just be a film about a postman reading the letters from somebody else. You know, those are the beautiful stories, and we need to get back to that. And I think it's heading that way. So one of the big things in the future are retreats, and we want to do really immersive retreats where the person who comes on the retreat comes on, and we do 2 weeks prior to that. I've been an acting coach for a few years, and I love it. And I used to when I was younger as well, and I absolutely love coaching. So what I want to do is have a retreat where 2 weeks prior, we have online sessions. The people who are part of the retreat are involved in writing. They're involved in, we get into character breakdown, we work on the characters, etc., etc. And at the actual retreat, they're part of the whole process. Claire has crew already available, top-notch crew from great productions, you know, that she's worked on, that are all excited to be part of it. And we just have a serious, immersive week then in the French countryside, where the people involved in it, the people who come on the retreat, are not just actors. They won't just get an acting credit. They'll get an acting credit, a writing credit, a producing credit. I want them to own a percentage of the film. This is going to be a film ready-made for festivals, and if there is any profit, it will be shared accordingly to everyone's stakes. This is pretty unique. So that's one. We also would like to do a workshop where where we do scenes, like maybe it's showreel scenes, but the groups of people don't just work on showreel, they work on the camera, they work on everything, you know, everything that makes up that scene, because it's important. You know, you're experienced enough. It's really important to know what is going on set. You know, you and I have had experience, but you know, Claire's had experience with day players coming on, or 3-day players even, and it's their first role, and they're clueless as to, you know, how to really handle set.
Right.
So that's part of the retreat. I want to expand. I'm watching, and you mentioned it earlier, I'm watching very cautiously about voice acting. I really, you know, you're a voice actress yourself, and that is a fear for me. I don't want voice acting taken away from people like you. So I've got this idea I'm playing with for the future. And that is, once AI voice production is up to a level that it can empathize, I want to employ actors like yourself to record your voice as the basis. And I'm still developing the idea, but the way I see it is then when any actor uses the system, we always struggle to get a reader. You know, actors always are struggling to get a reader. So I want a system that, say I've employed you, I use your voice, every time it's used in the system that you get paid. You know, it's along those lines. So it's not, the one thing I want to guard against is ethics, you know, and the misuse of AI. And I think if we allow voice in particular to just run away with it, you know, yes, you may find you are out of work. So I want to create a system where it keeps you in work. Make sense?
It makes totally sense, of course.
I'm
And
still
you,
developing that in my head.
that's great.
And then when we get to first class, you know, you talk about the future. First, the big vision I'll come to. So when we get to first class, we want emotional recall labs, sensory recall labs, daily exercises. All this is going to build up over the next few years. My ultimate vision is I want to start schools I come from a country where previously disadvantaged. I want to start acting schools eventually under the banner of the Actors Co-Pilot, probably in Africa, because that's where my heart is. And then, you know, go to other places.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal. Yeah.
That's great.
Get a bit teary about that, but that's my ultimate goal. Heaven
Yeah, you've
help
always
that
been
I
speaking.
stay around long enough But
Yes.
if I don't, I'll pass it on to someone else and say that's the vision. I've said to Claire as well, you know, I believe this will take off. I do. I believe people will realize AI can support, and that's exactly what we're about. And I've said to Claire that we need to actually write, you know, if anything were to happen to us, it has to carry on because AI is here to stay. So let's
Exactly.
use it properly.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how I can.
So I still have 2 questions for you guys. Make it
Okay.
short before the
Well,
game.
that's
Right.
so yeah.
So Claire, first you.
Wait, wait.
What is a piece of advice you wish you had received earlier, and a piece of advice for someone starting out today? So, which piece of
Ooh.
advice you wish you had received earlier, and then which piece of advice you will give to someone starting today?
Piece of advice because alors there's a coin and there's 2 sides of the coin. So
Yeah.
one side of the coin is me being very impulsive and making decision and just living from one day to the other. A piece of advice I would have loved to have in not 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 stopping me to do what I did, but is to be far more savvy with my finances. You know.
Yes.
And no, but to be more like, you know, to know about forex, to be more savvy about that, because I think it's something that whatever. But no, I think it's a skill, and that's a skill I don't have, and I'm learning it now. I'm at tender age, and I wish I had been pushed to really learn that skill early on.
Yeah,
For
system.
multiple reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second question: piece of advice I would give to someone? Yes.
Yes.
Well, the same
Starting
thing.
now.
No. But starting now, I think, no. I think I would go back to life. There's only one life.
Mm.
Uh, is to really listen to your gut, to your heart, and things are not irreversible. You know, if you decide you want to try something, try it. Just try
Mm-hmm.
and see what it does for you,
Yeah.
and God knows where it's going to lead you. And you can always go back to your old job or to your old place. It's nothing is irreversible, and there's always something to be learned along the way, even regardless of if you carry on or not carry on. You will meet somebody. Uh, but that's what happened to me in life. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
one thing led to another, and it's to be open to opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's to let people know as well what you're up to and what you want. I mean, that's what Tracy as well has been pushing me to do, rather than not, and to it's like you're a big sailboat, and just like, you know, put your big sail and catch the wind and
Mm-hmm.
just see where it takes you.
Yes.
Nice analogy. Yeah.
Could uh, it could be so rewarding, and nothing to be fearful about. You know, that's definitely go for it. Go. What do you have to lose? You know, that would be
Great.
definitely my advice. Ouais, voilà.
Yeah.
Was it
Love
short
Thank
it.
enough?
you.
Short, very
Thank
short.
you.
I
You,
love it.
Tracy, what is a piece of advice you wish you had received earlier? Just one.
To not be fearful.
Sorry?
To not be fearful. To, you know, in my youth, I was scared. You know, I wasn't that confident. I should have gone with my choices and known. I always knew deep inside me I should continue with acting, and I shouldn't have let a few auditions knock me, you know, knock the wind from my sails, as Claire put. But there was no support then, so I did. And I would advise any young or any actor of any age out there, go stay with it. Yes, you may need a day job to start with for some time. Fine. Find one that sits in alignment and go for it. Go for it. There's so much to learn. You know, when I was young, there was no internet. And I think it's insane now, you know, it took me a while to embrace the internet, like it's taking people a while to embrace AI. But my God, what has it given us? It's given us, you know, accessible education, and same with AI is doing. So yeah, my advice was just go, do it. As Claire said, we've only got one life, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I really want to stress is like, you said something that I love. You came back to acting at the age of 60. So it's,
60.
for
Yeah.
me, I need people to hear it. It's never too late.
No, it's never too late to
never
do
too
anything,
late.
Liz. You know, my mum, bless her, one of the other things, and she was an exceptional woman, and one of the other things she taught me, apart from you are where you're meant to be right now, she said, Tracey, you can do whatever you want in life if you commit to it, if you work on it, if you're diligent about it, set your mind to it. Now, you want to be the best clarinet player in the world? You know, unless you've got limitations that, you know, you don't have an arm or something, but then you could be the best clarinet, one-armed clarinet player in the world. You can be the best at whatever you need to be if you put your mind to it. And it's never, ever too late. And I agree with that 100%. It's never too late. You know, I don't want to be 60 plus and
You are
sitting.
60 plus.
Yeah, I am 60 plus, maybe more to 65.
Oh.
And, you know, I don't want to sit here and think, oh, you know, God, I could have done that, this and that. And no, my life starts today. Every single day, my
It's a new
life
start.
starts. It's a new start, you know. And yeah,
Great.
I just want health to stay around for long enough. That's my
You
big
will.
wish. Yeah,
I wish that for you too. And
yeah.
so let me remind you something, people. You have the Actors Co-Pilot current project right now. So go on the website. I will put all the information in the description. And your two project, Claire, so you have two scripts right now. You submitted one to the Cannes Film Festival, and
Yep.
no, the market, or the
It
festival.
was called Pitch Sans Frontières, so it was for the Cannes Film Festival, you know, to pitch to an array of producers. So that
Yes.
didn't happen, but
Shortlisted.
shortlisted, yeah. So short, that was on the last round, so that was
Yeah.
good. I got feedback, so I'm
Yes.
going to carry on pitching it on my own. I've already like spoken to a producer friend of mine this morning that actually heard
Great.
about it via. So she will read it after when she's back from Cannes. She doesn't have the time now, and
Yeah.
then I'm doing a pitch deck for the TV series called Danger Point. Which I talk about that project to the lovely group of producers from LA and also from France that I met when I was with the CNC about a month ago at Ceremania. So I need to finish that and send that to them because they're interested and they showed great interest to, you know, whether, and if not them, you know, it would be nice to have the feedback and the advice to, if not them, they're not interested, whether, you know, then who to address it to. And so I'm definitely further than what I was
Yeah.
2 months ago. So,
Yeah.
and I have to ride this wave and not procrastinate and not be fearful.
And
Voilà.
you know, the weird thing is, Beth, we both and always have, both of us work better under pressure.
Ouais.
And, you know, we've created
Why?
pressure for ourselves and we're flourishing, and it's great.
But I don't think we're
Great.
the only one. I think there's a
So
lot
great
of
to
people.
see you
There's a
writing.
lot of people like you, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, like, you know, people who have so many ideas, they are much better under pressure than just
Yeah.
letting
Ouais,
it come.
ouais.
So it's good.
Yeah,
Ouais,
no,
ouais.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's
All right.
it's such a pleasure to see Claire writing again because, babe, you're talented. You're incredibly talented.
Ah, yes. No, no,
And I'm
but
saying that publicly.
I love it. I love the love between
It's
you two.
amazing.
ouais,
It's amazing.
ouais, ouais.
I love it. So now my quick game called Fast and Curious. I'm going to ask you
Oula.
some questions to answer each time. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Morning or evening?
Evening.
Morning.
3 words that describe you, Tracey.
Passionate, loyal, and sympathetic.
Claire.
Well, I think the first one you all gather, it's impulsive, loyal, creative.
Creative. A place that brings you back to yourself, Claire.
Voilà, a place
The
that bring
bar.
you back to myself. A walk in the morning in nature. Nature, for sure.
Tracey?
Lying in a hot bath when I can.
One essential you always carry with you.
Oh no, okay.
What?
Okay, well, I have to say it. Okay, one essential, I don't know if it's essential, but I have a teddy bear that goes everywhere with me.
That's
And it's not that small, so every time, even if it's on a short trip, I have to take a suitcase that is big enough to shove the damn teddy bear in there. Et voilà.
So cute. That's so cute.
I know
What
it's
about you, Tracey?
there's so many. My inhaler, lip gloss. I'm looking around at the moment.
Just you have to pick one. You have to pick one essential.
My inhaler.
All right. Your current cultural recommendation. It can be a book, a film, a show, music, cultural recommendation.
Alors for me, the best series I've seen lately is For All Mankind on Apple TV. Yeah, it's really well done. It's also like a great. It's looking into the future with all the challenges that we're facing nowadays. It's
Yes, and Star
it's great.
City is the follow-up.
Right.
Can't wait. Yeah, All of
So,
Mankind is mind-blowing.
All Mankind is yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
What about you, Tracey? Do you have a recommendation?
I would say for actors, any book by Ivana Trubik.
Ivana Chubik. All right.
Yeah. Love it.
A quote or mantra that guides you. Tracey?
You are meant to be where you are right now.
There.
What is... Alors moi, it's a thing because it's related to writing, and it's a quote by James Joyce. I hope I'm not going to get it wrong. What is action but the illumination of character? And
Nice.
I think we can apply that as well. If you look at somebody, the way they act, the way they, they even body language always describe the character. So I think it's a great one. Yeah.
Great. Okay, this is my last question for today.
Wait.
Who would you want me to interview next and why?
In anyone out of anyone?
Anyone. Up to you.
Like anyone, famous, not famous, anyone.
Whatever.
Ooh, okay. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to know what Tracy's going to say.
No, why? What are you thinking?
Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was one of them.
Helen Mirren.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
you have to give me her contact, so she will be my next guest. What about you, Claire?
Me. Oh la la.
I've got someone else, though. I was going to say. Should I say?
Okay.
Are you thinking?
Yeah, go,
I can give her time to think quickly. Mine would be. You didn't say living or dead, so mine would be Shakespeare, because the context of all language, the plots of every great story, everything Shakespearean, and I believe if any actor can interpret Shakespeare, they can almost interpret anything, so I think it's a great thing for actors to work on Shakespeare and to get that language down, to understand it, can only improve your craft.
All right. That's a good one. I wasn't expecting that.
It's going to be a difficult one. Oh my God. I think for me it would be a director and Martin Scorsese.
Okay, you just have to give me those contacts. They will be my next guest for sure.
Because I think he's had an incredible career. I've watched a documentary not so long ago, and a very atypical, when it came around, especially in the 70s with Mean Street, and also his love for music. And in this documentary, he was saying how actually music has been fundamental into movie making for him. Like you remember being a kid and how even in the street of New York, you always hear something, music somewhere. You know, you in a taxi, the window is open, you can hear somebody playing music, or you can hear music sifting through a window. And I found it, I was like, yes, he's right. I mean, I know, like if I go to play in Périgueux in the street, there's always music, and how it's so complementary to a great story.
Yeah.
And also like as a testimony of the if it's a period movie like the 70s, and it's yeah, I found it very interesting, and I think he's a great director.
Yeah.
Voilà.
Great.
And in a genre that I like, obviously, because of Mafia.
Yes, of course. Obviously.
So he's one of my guru. He's my guru. Yeah.
Thank you
Right.
so much, ladies. I had a blast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We could have go for 3
know.
more hours, to be honest.
know.
You
I
have so
agree.
much. Maybe there will be a second interview after
I was about to
lunch.
say
Like, of course.
the sequel, you know.
And
Perfect.
thanks for
Season 2.
keeping us in tow, because you know we talk so much to each other all the
Especially
time.
you.
It's
That's
perfect.
a question. You asked for it, you know.
No,
So,
it's perfect.
yeah.
I loved it.
Thank
I
you.
loved it. No, it was
No,
perfect.
you were
Thank
super.
you. Thank you.
Super
Thank you
questions.
so
Thank
much.
you.
And
Yeah.
good luck with
Yeah.
the Actors Co-Pilot. Good luck
Thank you.
with your 2 script. I'm sure
Thank you so much.
going to watch it on big screen soon enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for being with us today. And please don't forget to follow us on all our social media, on the YouTube channel, and I'll keep you posted. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Bert.
Bye.
Lots of love.
And have a great time in Cannes.
Yeah, enjoy. Hope you get there. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.